right. Welcome, friends, colleagues, students, citizens of the world. This is another episode of the Teach Me Implants podcast. And I am so super excited today because anyone that knows me knows that I have been in the space of mentoring for a number of years. So much so that actually one of my current students at PNWU, I had given a lecture to probably 10 plus years ago. So that's how old I am. But today I bring you a treat because I have a very dear student that I've been working with for some time. And I am proud to say that she just finished her first year. So she is officially a D2 at Texas A&M. So I do want to introduce to all of you student Dr. Caitlin White, officially a D2. What's happening, girl?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So to give everybody like a brief overview of you,
Mm-hmm.
you're from the Eastern Washington area,
Correct.
correct? And the city is
Spokane.
okay, or as we on the west side will call it, we call it Slocan
Oh, okay.
because
That's fair. Fair. I'm not even gonna argue with you on that one. Yeah, that's good.
but I had a strong affection for you because, like both of my daughters, you are a volleyball standout. Tell us about you academically, sports wise. Give us a brief summary of the amazing Caitlin White.
Okay, yeah. So I'm from Spokane. I was originally born in Dallas, but I moved there when I was around 8 or 9. And like you said, yeah, volleyball has been kind of my thing for a long time. I played at Whitworth University, which is a small D3 liberal arts college. So I did that all 4 years during undergrad while getting my major in health science to kind of prepare me to enter into dental school. And from there, I don't know, I've just been kind of rocking and rolling ever since, nonstop.
That's what's up. Now, when we linked up, you had some insecurities and fears about, do I apply this year? Do I take the DAT, not take the DAT, retake the DAT? All the normal questions and fears a pre-dental student has. Now that you've obviously matriculated, and we'll get into how this first year was, when you look back at that time and whether you analyze what you were worried about, what you gave energy to, good and bad, how would you assess that pre-dental period of your life?
Yeah, that was really stressful. I think for me, my biggest thing was not doing well on the DAT and like how that would kind of just like affect me going forward because I was always looking at like the averages for different schools and like looking at their scores and being like, oh, I don't know if I can get a 22. I don't know if I can get this, and that. And so that was kind of like my biggest obstacle I had to overcome. And so once I finally took the DAT, like my goal for myself was just to only take it once. Like I actually really don't care about the score, as bad as that sounds. I just only want to have to take it once. And so while I was studying, I just kind of kept that at the forefront of my mind. And once I got my score and I was happy with it, I just felt really fulfilled that I only had to take it once because Lord knows I was not doing that again. Yeah, that was rough. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, and I remember those times, with all the students that I talked to and how much, because you often think, okay, this is not just a test. This is like my whole rest of my life rests on this result. And you did well enough to not have to take it a second time.
Correct.
So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And then what was that application slash interview process for you? What was that like?
Let's see. I applied all over the country because I didn't really have a strong preference for where I went. I just knew I wanted to go somewhere and I needed it to be a good fit. And I wasn't really sure what that was going to look like until I started like interviewing and going places. So I applied to, I think it was 13 schools, and I ended up getting 6 interviews, and most of them were in person except for a couple. And basically, they just kind of invite you out and you do the interview. Some of them were a little more laid back than others, and I can't really remember which schools were a little more like cutthroat in their interview process, but I just remember that A&M, I think it was one of the most laid back interviews I had. It was just like a conversation, and my tour was great. I liked the people that I interviewed with. I believe like My interview group specifically, we were all out of state students too, which what I thought was kind of cool for them to like make that experience enjoyable for all of us and have something to like talk about while we were waiting. So yeah, but that process was, I think it was long. It took about 3 or 4 months, I think, to get through all of the interviews, and then another 2 months just to hear back from every school I did interview with. So
So when you flying out to these places, and you said some were but more formal, other ones seemed a little bit more laid back. Which strategy do you think you enjoyed more? And it sounds like you enjoyed the laid back ones, obviously, because
most
it's got less
definitely.
pressure. But which ones do you feel actually probed well enough in whichever style they use to actually get to know you?
I think definitely the more laid back ones. I don't think I really thrive well in that environment where it feels like they're grilling you. Like I don't really do well in that kind of environment, but I think that I don't know, I'm pretty good at talking to people. Like that's nothing to me. I do it every single day. So when the lady asked me like, "Oh, what is it like in Washington? Oh, what are the lakes like?" I was like, "You don't want to know why I want to be a dentist." And so I was like, "Oh, okay. Like I talk about this all the time. Like this is like clockwork." And so I
Right.
really appreciated that just because it felt like, obviously we're all smart, so we can talk about GPA and scores and this and that all day, but I feel like them wanting to get to know you is a lot better conversations to have.
So would it be fair to say for young applicants that if you got an interview, rest assured that you're minimally qualified, at least?
Correct. Most definitely. Yeah, they're not
Right.
gonna just ask you to come for no reason, for
Right.
sure.
Right. Did you have any reservations? I don't know. Like I remember back in my day, I felt that I was a little out of place being, black applying to the University of Washington. I had braids at the time. I was not that it held me back per se, but it consumed a part of my mind focusing on how I thought they might perceive me. But this is 25 years ago. Have things changed for young students, or is that still a part of your psyche going into the experience?
Definitely think it's still something I thought about a lot going into the experience, especially coming from Spokane, where it's predominantly white. There's not a whole lot of diversity. That's just something that's kind of, it was programmed into just like the things I did every day. So, but when I did go to these interviews, and I think every single place I went was obviously a lot more diverse in Spokane just because the cities were bigger and like the schools were bigger. So that also helped a lot because I did some of my interviewers were people of color, which was also really helpful. And I was like, oh, so there are people like that look like me in these spaces. So that helped a lot. But most definitely, I think going into the process, it was something I was scared of for sure.
And ultimately you chose Texas. What were some of the biggest factors regarding or behind that choice?
My first time living away from home, I knew I needed to be close to family. And so
Mm.
all of my extended family lives here, which is really nice, really helpful. I hate the cold. So this was like a no brainer for me, also. I do not need 4 seasons. If I never see snow again, I don't think I'll be upset.
Facts.
And I don't know, I just love the city of Dallas, period. I just feel like it really fits me and it suits me well. And ever since I've been here, I think I've never been happier. So I'm glad I ended up here.
That's cool. Okay, so we got you now through the interview process. You made your choice selection. Before we even get to how first year was it a good choice? The school itself, was it a good choice for you?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this much, because me and you talk periodically. We do some Zoom check-ins from time to time, and we text, and I see the energy shifts. Right? Sometimes it begins with excitement, and then when it's finals or midterms time, like I can tell even through the text that the energy has shifted. Tell us that journey from first quarter to fourth quarter. What was it like for your soul to go through that?
My soul. My soul has been through a lot, let me tell you. Let me see, my first couple months, yeah, that was probably the most trying time of my entire life. I think I cried at least twice a week, minimum. And I wasn't sleeping very well. My whole workout routine got thrown out of whack. So then I was hard on myself about that. Um, I don't know. I feel like I couldn't get my hands to do what my brain wanted them to do. So it felt like I
Mm,
sucked at whatever it was I was trying to do. Yeah, it was just like a lot of, what's that word? The identity crisis, the whole imposter syndrome. I just couldn't believe, like, how am I supposed to be here if I can barely do any of this stuff? Like, it was just really bad. But then, you kind of just trauma bond with your classmates, and, everybody is going through it. So, and then you just kind of learn to figure it out because there's, as harsh as it is, like there's no room for failure. So you need to make something shake. And eventually I did. I don't know, one day I feel like it kind of clicked, and I got used to suffering, and I was just able to work through it. I don't know. I wish like there was like a nicer way to put that, but you
mm,
just really get used to suffering. And when you have people around you that are also suffering, it helps
mm.
a lot.
Did you have any, or do you have any people in your class that seem to just be savants? Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't seem to struggle. Their wax ups look beautiful from day one. Are there any of those annoying people in your class too?
Yeah. And let me tell you, because like the waxing, that I was so upset when I was never good at that. I never really got good at it. People would be able to do it in like an hour, hour and a half, and I took the full 3 hour lab time every single
Mm,
time. And sometimes like it's still they like gave me a pity check off because like they saw how hard I was trying and it just still wasn't working. I don't know, but yeah, there's always a lot of people who are just really good at it naturally. So
yeah, we had this thing where like if you got a perfect score on your first attempt, because they would break it up like the first half of the session, it would be your first attempt, you get graded, and then you get to do it again, and you get like a second chance essentially. And so that's how all the lab sessions were structured. And this dude Christian, who's now he's an endodontist, but had the most beautiful, like I'm my memory, if it serves me right, 100% of the time he did what we called waxed out. So on his very first one, 100%, he could leave, and
yeah.
we all had to sit there for another hour and a half.
I would be sitting there
Uh,
like crashing out because like people are leaving an hour and a half into lab, and I'm barely like I had one cusp waxed, and I just don't understand like how they're doing it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So now we talked a while ago, and you were super excited because you started your perio class,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of made some comments like, "Oh, this is actually really interesting. I think I like this." And I was like, oh, "Dope! I got a new periodontist that can, kind of help grow through the ranks of general dentistry to perio." And then midterms and finals came. So tell me about your whole perio experience.
Okay, no, I really do. I do like Perio just because I like how niche it is. Like
Mhm.
it's foundational and I really appreciate that. And it's not as broad. I know it can get broad, but like when you really get down to it, I like how there's like specific things that you get to focus on, and if you understand this and this, like everything really builds on top of that, which I really
Mm.
do like. But yeah, while I was learning and like the slides kept coming in and we got more lectures and we got more PowerPoints and whatnot, like it made sense to me while I was studying. Don't get me wrong, but like the test though, I was thrown for a loop. I just didn't know questions could be asked the way that they were. And so that's where I was like, okay, maybe this is not as fun and cool as I thought it was. But I do appreciate the specialty of perio a lot. That I really do.
Yeah. For some reason, perio has prided itself on exam questions that make no sense,
Yeah.
or questions where literally it seems like every answer could be right or every answer could be wrong.
Mhm.
And you're staring at it like, am I retarded?
I felt
Yeah.
slow. And I was just like, there's no way I could have studied different because it wouldn't have mattered because I still wouldn't have understood what she was asking me. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. Well, it's you said earlier that there is some solace in knowing that other people are suffering with you. And hopefully there's solace in knowing that everyone who's ever taken perio has suffered alongside you on the continuum of time and space.
That's really good.
And unfortunately, I have a feeling my students are going to be doing a little bit of suffering. But it's what you said though was spot on. Perio is foundational, right? If you want to do restorative, you have to be able to understand the periodontal condition, diagnose it, prognose it, right? If you want to do fixed partial dentures, if you want to do, what's the hot shit right now on Instagram? It's full mouth veneers, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got to make sure the patient is periodontally healthy. If you're doing veneers because someone has short clinical teeth, you have to know the periodontal reason as to why. Is there, eruption patterns that need to be addressed? Is it gingivectomy? Is it, you have to remove bone along with gingiva? And so in whatever your interest is, and obviously you're a D2 now, perio is always going to be there breathing down your neck saying, hey, don't forget about me.
Well, I'm
Right.
aware. I'm scared.
Right.
I'm scared.
So D1 for you though is primarily lab and didactics, or have you guys been introduced to actual clinical settings yet?
We did some clinical setting stuff like with each other during D1. It wasn't like a whole bunch, but we definitely like got a good little intro. I think it was more in the spring semester versus the fall, but yeah, we did.
Okay. Is it mostly like head and neck exams? Are you guys assisting upperclassmen, or what are you guys doing?
We did some head and neck exams on each other, and then we did have a rotation where we got to go in the clinic with D3s and D4s. Now, what you did in the clinic was kind of up to the D3 and D4s that you were paired with. Like, I got straight to assisting, which is not like what some of my peers did. So,
Mm.
like, they just got to stand there and watch somebody take impressions. And my girl was like, "Can you hold the suction? Can you do this?" And I was like, "Oh, so you want me to assist? Got it. Okay." Just say that. Like, let's not.
Right.
But yeah. So I think everybody kind of got just like a sprinkle of everything, though.
Okay. And you did some assisting before going to dental school. You worked in a dental office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like having the assistant background is going to make you a better dentist, or how did you see your interaction with that D3 or D4 as you were assisting? Were you looking at them like, nah, do this, go here,
Oh
or
no, most
were
definitely
you thinking
not.
that?
Because I had no idea I didn't even know what was going on when she asked me to assist. So,
Okay.
but I think assisting for sure will like help me be a better dentist just because I've seen assistants get treated like really poorly. And I
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact that I do not want to be like that because like
Mm.
it's a hard job. It really is a hard job. And it's like you have to be able to read the dentist's mind and it's not easy. So, I have a lot of respect for assistants, especially like the really good ones cuz I know like it takes a lot of reps to get there.
Yeah. I used to be that way where I felt like I should be nice to all my assistants,
Oh
right?
no.
And no, I'm not going to bash anybody.
I'm just scared of where this is going.
I feel like the older I get, the more I realize that the doctors that are super detail oriented and very meticulous and perfectionists, you can't be that way and be nice at the same time. I
Oh,
don't know what it is about that.
that makes sense.
And I feel like I've been known to be a little difficult to work with because I am a perfectionist, right? And
Mm.
especially since residency, because I have to take the perfect photos. So everything I do has to be as perfect as possible. So I'm very, very particular. But now going back and looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, if I want a dentist to work on me, I kind of want the one that's a little bit of an asshole
Mm.
because that probably means they're very particular. Because if you're more laissez-faire, whatever happens, happens. Like, I don't want that mentality bleeding into what you're doing on my mouth,
This is
right?
true. This is true. But I don't think the assistant's feelings should have to suffer.
That is true.
Just coming from the other end of it, where I've been yelled at, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna remember
So,
this. Don't worry
so,
about it.
so as an assistant, then, what is the best way if I know that, hey, this is going to be a tough case? I'm gonna be very particular. I may be a little snippy with you. What's the best way to approach it? Like, should I apologize before, try to contain myself, and then apologize after? Like, what do you feel you needed or would have needed in that moment to be like, okay, I get it. I'm with you. It's not going to affect me.
I remember like there was one, it was my first root canal. Had never done one, had never assisted with one. And I was like, hey, just like warning you right now, I've never done this. So like, please bear with me. But like, I understand like if you need to get upset with me during it, can you just like let me know now? Like if you're gonna get active so I can like mentally prepare myself. Because I'm a crier. So that would be so embarrassing if I'm over there and there's tears like dripping down. So just tell me right now if you feel the need to raise your voice at me during that thing so I can, clench my jaw a little bit. And yeah, because it's just like, it's also embarrassing because like the patient's sitting there like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, now I'm embarrassed. So,
Right. No, and I often forget that the patient's listening and seeing all that, right? Because I may be so focused on what we're doing in the mouth, and so if I tell you to hold the mirror here and your hand keeps drifting, I'm like, no, keep it here,
mm,
here, keep it here. After the third or fourth time, it's kind of forget about the patient, and you're so locked in to the moment. So I probably should be more aware of that. Okay, so you've assisted now. Did you see anything or have you done any rotations or had any introductions to anything other than perio that might have piqued your interest?
that's like the only specialty we've really gotten into and started learning the nitty gritty.
Okay. So what was your curriculum D1 or yeah, D1?
I think first semester it was like some foundational biology class, some dental anatomy. What else did we do? We had an ethics class, and then we took like an operative class where we just learned about operative, and then obviously we had operative lab as well. And then I think there's another one that I'm forgetting. I know we had anatomy and anatomy lab. We had a physiology class separate from anatomy. I'm like, I know there's more, but I don't know.
Did you do any of those with the med students at the university? So it's just all dental.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That anatomy, was it just head and neck anatomy? Did you guys do trunk or anything else?
Did we do trunk? We kind of did trunk because we did back,
Okay.
but we didn't do the front. And then we did heart up.
Really? So you did dissection of the back of the cadavers?
Yeah,
That's so odd. It seems
yeah,
like most of the interesting stuff would be accessed from the front.
yeah. I think that was
Okay.
like the first thing that we cut actually was the back. And
Mhm.
then like halfway through the semester, we flipped them.
Okay. How was that for you?
Not bad. I took an anatomy class in college, so but the TAs were the one who did the dissection. So this was my first time doing that, but I didn't mind it.
Mm.
So it
How
was
was the smell?
nasty.
The formaldehyde.
I have a cheat code though. If you put the Vicks here,
Mm,
and then I double masked,
yeah.
so I never really smelled anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was traumatized. Even though I loved cadaver lab and we did head, neck, and trunk and groin.
sorry. That's
Yeah,
just okay.
yeah, but we did it with the med students. So each cadaver had two med students and two dental students,
That's fine.
and we just all kind of took turns. But I remember for like a good 2 years after, I could not eat any cold cuts. So turkey sandwiches, roast beef. Because in my head, I remember the skin of these poor souls just being kind of clammy and so anytime I ate like a turkey sandwich, that's where my mind would go,
That's
and I would just be
unfortunate. I don't have
yeah,
that problem, but I don't
yeah.
know.
You're
Maybe
stronger
I'm
than I was.
heartless, but yeah, no, I've been yeah. But yeah, that's actually interesting. I wish we had like some med students. I feel like a lot of the stuff would have been more helpful for them anyways, even though I'm sure they have their own lab that they do, but
Right.
because the
Right.
back, I had trouble trying to
Yeah.
find the purpose, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So you recently got done with final, because I was trying to do this podcast with you a few weeks ago, and you was like, "Yo, I'm in the middle
Yeah, I
of
was
a
going through it.
storm of finals." What was finals like for you?
And finals was interesting, especially because I feel like the summer semester finals, it felt a lot quicker than like normal semester
Mm,
finals because it was like every single day we had something, and I feel like usually during like normal school semester finals, like we'll have like a final like the week before, so we'll have like a couple days off during the week, and then we'll have like two or three finals during the week. But it was like we had five finals in five
mm.
days. And so that was crazy, right? And it had been on the calendar. And so I don't know how it just snuck up on me like that either. That's the craziest part. But luckily, they weren't all super duper hard, but definitely
Mhm.
like had to lock in eventually. And the Perio final was my first one. And I remember I was like, this cannot set the tone for the rest of the week. I can't let it. I can't let it. Or else like, yeah, no, that was so funny. That was so funny. And then I think we had our oral path final also. That one kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. Just because the test itself actually didn't end up being that difficult. It was just like studying for the test. I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not going to remember any of this. And so
Right.
I was a little bit nervous, but the test ended up being okay. And then we had a restoration practical that week as well, and then an operative final and like a preclinical diagnostics final. So it
Okay.
was jam packed.
All right. And so work-life balance for you looks like what, given the rigors of this first year?
I'm still trying to figure that one out just because from what I've heard, second year is a lot more easygoing in terms of didactics than D1. So I think
Mhm.
I'm going to have a little bit more balance because last year I would always say, "Oh, I have a work-life balance," but there was no balance. So I was lying. Yeah. This year I think I'll be able to do it. And I feel like since I know how to study now for real, like I know what works for me, I think
Right.
that I can better like set out my time to do my work and then have my life on the side. So,
Right. Now, I don't know if you remember, but leading up to beginning of your D1, I remember telling you stuff like, "Hey, make sure you start reading, just get in the habit or get in the
ha,
zone." And you were like, "Oh yeah, 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 of course." And then you'd be off on vacation, right? And
not you, don't
so,
do
but I know
this.
you did a little bit. But here's a question for you: is there truly a way to prepare for the volume? Because we all come from undergrad, and you weren't too far removed from undergrad, and you
Mhm.
might think, "Okay, I'm still in the zone. I got this." Is there anything that undergrad really does to prepare you for the sheer volume that you get once you get to dental school?
No, it's not even close. No,
It's not.
no. Maybe like the sometimes like where you really gotta like try your best and like really lock in. Yeah, it'll prepare you for that. But the volume, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, there's nothing.
Did you have those moments where you're just like, "This is impossible. There must be something wrong with the program
Yes,
because
because
what
why
this
y'all give
is
me all this
impossible."
stuff? Yes, there is something wrong. I still feel like somewhere like things can be a little bit spread out, but they
Right.
just don't. So, I, what do I know?
But you survived, right?
I
So that
yeah,
you are the living testament that this is possible, correct?
correct. It is
Yeah.
very possible
It
for
is. It
sure.
is very possible. Which it always warms my heart to see students go through that struggle. I recently saw a post, to paraphrase it. It said, when you're being resilient, it doesn't feel resilient,
Mm,
right? You feel like you're drowning, like you're crashing out. It's only afterwards when you get past it where an observer might, like me, can look at you and be like, "Hey, Caitlin, you rocked it out. You were resilient." And you were like, I didn't feel that way.
No, right, because it felt like every single day I was getting my ass kicked, chewed up, spit out. Yeah, it was.
But do you feel now that you successfully completed D1? Do you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder? Like, all right, like I got this. This is I'm in there now.
Yeah, no, that's actually funny you said that because I was talking to one of my friends from school just because summer semester is like a lot more lax than normal school. And we were coming off that high of finishing D1. And I feel like that's how finals week actually ended up catching up to us because we were like,
Mhm.
man, we could like like all that stuff we were doing back to back to back in D1, like we can afford to take a day off. Oh, we could take a day off. Oh, we could,
Right.
and then it just boom, finals week. Definitely got a chip on my shoulder. What? Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, no, yeah, because it really is like super hard. And there were days where I was like, okay, cut the cameras because I can't. It feels like I can't do this for real, but it's
Right.
definitely possible.
Yeah. And so I do want to, before we close out, I want to get your opinion on some things because I often have these thoughts, judgments about the dental world in general and what's going on. And I often have to reel myself in and say, hey, Leroy, you're also mid 40s. Your opinion is not going to match what the new generation is thinking. Your values aren't going to match, and there's no wrong or right. But I've always been kind of judgy because I'm a purist on we should focus on the science, on academia, on patient treatment.
Mm.
But we're in an age where social media is just an integral part of our existence. It's how we do our marketing. It's how we do a lot of patient education. It's how sometimes we do our intercollegial education. When you look at social media, what seems to grab your attention and what seems to draw you in as something you might want to learn about, emulate? Is it the flashy videos? Is it the veneer cases? Is it the lifestyle content? What do you think at this point in your age, there's no wrong answer,
Mm-hmm.
really sings to you as important visual experience?
This is a good question. I will say, I will never skip a veneers video, like especially like the ones that are like really well edited and like
Mm,
have the cool music in the background, have the really nice before and after pictures set up. Like I will never skip one of those videos. But I feel like this is so interesting because I've never even thought about this. I don't really think I watch any of the I don't ever see like a whole lot of surgery videos coming up on my timeline, except for
mm,
yours and like your pictures and stuff. But I just know that those flashy videos do get a lot of engagement. Now, are they helpful? I don't know. Probably
right,
not because people don't really know what they're getting themselves into. I know a lot of people will engage with those, but I will say I think my favorite kind of dental content that I like to see is like day in the life videos. Like I don't even
mm,
need to see like a case like unfold. I just like to see like a day in the life because I feel like I don't get to see that enough.
right,
And I have this idea in my head of what my day in the life is going to look like, but I feel like I fear it's really unrealistic.
right.
So, I don't know, if I could see more of those, I always tune into those when I see them, but hopefully
Do you
that
feel those? Do you feel those are honest? Because I feel like I've known a couple dental school influencers, right? And just let me pretext that I'm not an influencer at all.
Mhm.
And I don't even engage at that level where I'm trying to be an influencer. I try to be more academic content. I got fans, family members, and friends that follow me. So there's some stuff for them. It's nowhere in my goal to be Instagram famous whatsoever,
Mhm.
right? I'm more of a purist. But I do know some students that do have a pretty strong presence. They're very charismatic. They're usually very attractive. They're very creative with their videos. And because I know them, I also know that they're a lot more stressed out than they often portray.
Mm.
So I don't see a lot of student crash out videos. I see a lot of dentists where they'll feel comfortable having their crash outs, like I'm about to quit my job and blah blah blah. but the students seem to make it seem like it's really easy.
Yeah.
Do you feel there's honesty in that, or have you come across pages where they seem to be pretty accurately portraying what a day in the life of a dental student is?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen anybody like publicly crash out yet. I've seen some where they allude that the crash out is coming, but never see it. So, but yeah, I think yeah that whole every day is kind of a good day thing is really misleading for sure.
Right. Like, are you really waking up 4 a.m. every morning, doing your
No,
protein shake? Are you really doing?
I tried it one time, never again, ever again. It's a terrible idea.
Right. Yeah. And I think I've been known to make some comments. There's a lot of convention. I think there was one out in Dallas not too long ago called Darkon
Mm-hmm.
that I know a few students went to. And I always struggle because then I end up feeling like that old head who in the 90s was like, rap music is going to destroy Black culture, because there's an element of kind of this new flashy, whether it's fake it till you make it or portraying something that maybe you're not there yet, element to especially our culture, right? Our culture loves
Mm-hmm.
chasing. It's almost like even with religion, the prosperity gospel. So it's the prosperity dentistry, right? And so I don't know, and maybe I should ask you, what would be the most effective way for someone that doesn't want to eliminate it? Because I think all messages have a place in a free market of ideas and exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way to convey the reality? Like, hey, dental school is going to kick your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Postgraduate life is going to be hard. It's going to take time to find yourself. All these people you see on islands in Mykonos and Portugal and the Maldives and all that, like they're not living like that every day because they still got to work,
Right.
right? What's the best way to counterbalance some of this other messaging that you guys are getting?
Hmm. I wish we could have like a reality TV show, to be honest. I feel like that would be it. Like, cause there's no other way. Cause like I feel like so many people told me like, oh yeah, like life's gonna be great, this, and that, but school is also gonna suck. And then I was like, oh yeah, obviously school is gonna suck at school. But then I didn't realize how like bad like it really does get. So like I don't know. I just think that it's hard just because like you don't really know until you start going through it how it can really get.
Mm,
So I don't know. I would say like maybe a book, but nobody's gonna read it, and they're probably gonna
right,
close it once it starts getting scary because that's exactly what I would do. So I
right.
don't even know. I wish I had the answer. Mm.
Yeah, a reality series. I mean, hell, there's one Married to Medicine, and the dentist on that. Uh, I know. I don't know. That's a whole different conversation. But
Mm.
yeah, and so I guess the only thing to do is to, on my end, keep having conversations with people like you through your journey, right? So at least this content is out there telling students, especially ones that haven't experienced the suck of D1,
Hmm.
like, hey, lock in before you get in, because otherwise, either way, you're gonna get your ass kicked, but maybe you can take a few less lumps if you go in a little prepared, if that's even possible.
Most definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't suck all the time, so that's great. To anyone listening, it doesn't suck all the time.
Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing your story. Me and you are always going to be connected, and I'm going to keep trying to recruit you to the side of perio because perio is the greatest
All
specialty
right.
there is. But all the other ones are amazing, so I'm not saying anyone is bad. But is there any parting message you want to give anyone listening, or that you might want to give yourself that you can then compare to yourself next year when we do something similar after D2?
Maybe to myself first. Good luck during your DT year, obviously. And for me, I think this year is really just going to be about like preparing myself to be the best clinician I can be and let the grades just come. I know I usually get wrapped up in the whole didactic and grades and exams things, but I really want to make sure that I can be a really good patient provider by the end of this year for going into clinic next year. So that's my biggest goal for myself. And to anyone watching, if you're passionate about dentistry, lock in with somebody like my fantastic mentor here and, find out what you can do for yourself and, make it happen if you're really about it. So, yeah.
That's what's up. Well, thank you so much, student doctor Caitlin White, officially a D2. I'm so proud. I know your family's so proud too. Thank you for sharing your story and your experience and for your honesty. And to all our listeners, my parting message: keep reading, keep listening, keep learning, and we'll talk to you soon.